Alright, I think we're almost set here. Thank you all for your patience. Seeing how the audio sounds. Alright, so far it doesn't seem bad, but I think today's the day that I really get a new headset with my GameStop gift card that I have. It really seems like it's due. It might be the first thing I have to do today. I hope everyone's doing alright. Just getting everything organized here. What up, G America 741? Thank you for being here. Joe Romano, thank you for being here as well. But if anyone has any ideas on headsets, I definitely need some. Because I'm really not sure which one to get, but this one is obviously not cutting it. You seem pretty legit, but like, what's the difference between these three? I'd definitely do some further research and due diligence on this kind of thing. Definitely hope everyone's having a good night out there. Tiny Investor, hello, thank you for being here. Jay Kerwin, hey now, checking in. Thanks for being here, man, much appreciated. Hi Rida 420, thanks for being here. Yeah, we're out here just looking at some headsets. Just gonna research some of these after. That's really something I should do. Like watch some like YouTube videos, or if anyone has any recommendations, I'll definitely take them for consideration. Because I'm honestly not sure what general direction to go. Just kind of looking at them to start. But damn, what a day for like price action, and we got Bed Bath on the move, got AMC on the move. Things are heating up. All of a sudden Bitcoin is just doing okay. Like it's very interesting. It's New Year started. Like everything's kind of just doing all right all of a sudden. Very interesting. Damn, 16. This is definitely not gonna cut it. Oh, Nintendo Switch headset. That's crazy. Nice day, Jackson's G-Pop. Nice day, yes sir, it is a nice day. If you're breathing and alive, it's a good day. But yeah, definitely brick by brick with the stream, We're out here with another one. Thank you all for being here. But it's crazy. Cost to borrow is literally still at like 20%, right? Let me confirm that. GME cost to borrow. Let's see what we got as the latest. 21%, yeah. And this number just keeps fluctuating around like crazy. But you can see here for a long time, we've been in this little range. And will it break out? But in general, since it's been, see down here is 8%, right? It's not like this is 0% for a long time now. It's actually been at 8%. And then all of a sudden, right, cost to borrow just made a big move up and then kind of held steady now. But generally still 20% is a high cost to borrow, right? And when you see 8% on a long-term time frame, okay, well, that's a pretty high cost to borrow when you look at your average stock, right? Oh, I want to short Pepsi, I want to short Coca-Cola, why am I only saying drink makers? Literally like Tesla, Apple, whatever you want to short, right? The cost to borrow, there's going to be shares out there that could be utilized. They're going to be easy to come up with. So the competitiveness in terms of the borrow rate is not going to be there. But here at GameStop, it's consistent, right? And I'm not saying this doesn't happen on other stocks, but just strange things happen with the borrow rate, right? Like, look at this. This was around this time of the stock dividend split. Over here, you have May. There's a little run up shortly after this. There's a run up shortly after this, but I'm pretty sure this run up was bigger than this run up, but yet this cost to borrow rise was a little smaller. So a lot of questions as to what's going on there, but as you can see from here, right, cost to borrow was actually very high for a long period of time here as well. Kind of forgot about this, and then it came way down, but even then it held at 8%, right? So it's been at 8% or higher since literally May. That's for like 7 months now. That's really high cost to borrow. So it's very expensive, right? Yes, the stock price has gone down, so those shorts are all right, but theoretically, the longer this goes on and the higher the rate is, and if you did have it in this 7-month period, part of that, the cost to borrow is higher. But one thing I would have to fact check is when you short a stock, is cost to borrow for the distance of it, or is it just specifically for the time frame, right? Like in the time period you're in, is that the current cost to borrow live? Is it like APY where like it'd be daily what you're charged, but it's on an annual basis? Or would it be like locked in? But either way, there's still new short positions being taken, right? Or like at least that's what the data is telling us, right? You see this number constantly fluctuating, so these shares are being utilized in some way or another. So all I'm saying is like there's a cost to borrow on this. It's kind of expensive, and like evidently shares are kind of needed, right? There's demand for them. 18.5 on Webull. Damn, crazy. Yeah, I remember someone told me once that Webull, like, oh, I didn't even do like a cost, like lend out shares or anything like that. I didn't approve that, and then all of a sudden it said like on loan, and it's like, what? That's so weird. Does this really mean have 6 to 7 figure potential, or are people just talking out of their ass? Honestly, anything's possible. I don't know if truly it will get that high, because it really all just depends on individuals and how long things go and who owns what position, like what's going on in the moment of time. Like I think there's so many X factors, right? So I would definitely say it's not impossible. I really do think it's a interesting case, right? And I think eventually historic, but just my personal opinions here, that it's going to be an ultimate like demand with just such a limited supply and just so many individuals that have shares booked in their name. DRS I truly think is game changing, and like it's just slowly starting to show, and I think things like the cost of borrow rate are kind of showing that. But over time I think it will be more and more evident as more and more shares are registered in the names of individuals. And then if just lots of individuals are not selling, as it seems a lot of individuals are looking in the long-term basis, right, and just saying I like the stock, I just want to hold it, then I feel like anything's possible, right? Like who's really to say what's to happen? But again, what your idea of MOAS is might not be my idea or his idea or her idea or their idea, whatever. Because ultimately, like what MOAS is in my eyes at this point is just up, right? Because you just believe in the company and what you deem it to be, or like what it'll actually look like. Like I truly don't know. I just know there's a massive amount of short interest, or that's what I believe. And I have a company that I really like here, so I'm just going to keep an eye on those two main factors and dig into them deeply and just go from there in terms of how long I'll hold. Infinite risk. Yes. As Lightning Warrior has, what was the other thing? He's like, infinite risk. Mad funny. Yeah, we out here, 13. Appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Not sure why I'm scrolling through this here. Look, it's 21.46%. Lifetime dividends and split. Dude, honestly, I mean, eventually, yeah, I saw Morant's posted video on dividends. I still have to watch that, but it would make sense. I mean, eventually, if you just have a strong built company, if there's just massive amounts of shares out there, dividends would have to be paid, right? It does come out of the pocket, and then on top of it, you have high cost to borrow, and things just kind of work themselves out over time, right? XBit, thank you for being here. Yo, yo. Roger M, no one will ever let it get that high, just my honest opinion. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. And I think part of it is right now what we're seeing, right? Where this whole thing has just been dragged out for like a minute, right? Or obviously not a minute, but a long time. And the longer this goes on, the more individuals are buying stock, right? As we see with DRS numbers. And I think next quarter, DRS numbers will be higher. And DRS, in my eyes, is like cold, hard evidence that individuals just like the stock and continue to buy it. But having said that, you know, and part of why I always say is never invest more than you can afford to lose, is because I think the longer this goes on, the more really like balls deep, honestly, people get into this, like just get too much, right? Which I really don't want to see, and I don't think anybody should lose sleep at this stuff overnight, right? So what I'm getting at is, if people do invest more than they can afford to lose, or do go incredibly aggressive, I think it is a lot more likely that individuals sell stock sooner, right? Just keeping it real, like is what it seems like. But the question is also like, how much demand will there be out there when shares need to be covered? So just a lot of X factors. Lifetime dividend, yes. 4Q. No sell, no sell. Yeah, no, honestly, I don't think there'll be a dividend announced like that soon. I feel like it would be more so once the company has like, okay, we're profitable, we got this Web3 going, we're involved in this, we're going to do this, like we have a partner here, like we just acquired this, right? All that kind of stuff I think will happen, and then dividend will be more likely. No sell, no sell. Oh, yeah, I gotta tweet this out. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's crazy, you guys. Like, I can't believe it's already January again. But you have to wonder, right? With the options, like that's definitely something I want to look at. The options for January of 2023. An important thing to think about is January of 2025, right? Those are the farthest options you can purchase right now that are written. So that means at this same time, 2 years ago, January 2023, were the furthest options you could acquire, right? Or write options for. So if the whole thing was, kicking the can down the road, or as it has been, as we saw a lot of interesting stuff with the options in January of 2022, not particularly, not particularly on the expiration, but just in that time period. And we also saw massive amounts of open interest, and now there's again massive amounts of open interest on this end of year cycle, right? Or end of year option set. If GME keeps going up, will we see FOMO? I think that's absolutely something we're kind of all forgetting about right now. I think yes, because there's the whole, it's a meme trade and people just want to hop on it and ride it, and like obviously, like if you're invested in GameStop for the long term, I don't think you're looking at it as a meme trade, right? So people will, I think, FOMO and just think like, oh, here it is again. Here's another big move for GameStop. Like seeing GameStop at a new all-time high. The ones right now that are being like, oh, this is so ridiculous, that they're gonna be so quick in their, I think at least in their account, like trading it and FOMOing. But I think that FOMO, like part of the reason this, like how I was kind of saying before, like MOAS might not be just one big grand event all at once in like one short period of time, is like everything in this world is like, look over here, well this is going on here, oh look at this, and something's actually going on over here. So I feel like there'll be a lot of diversion, so that as best as possible, FOMO doesn't get out to everybody like last time, and it gets to be just more so like individuals just in like stock communities, right? And just like looking on with things. So I think yes, there'll be FOMO, but what it'll look like, I don't know. And I think part of it also has to do with market conditions. Yeah, I was going to tweet this out. Lou is pumping BBBY now. It's going to be AMC 2.0. Honestly, I do think it's AMC 2.0. Like, I traded it last time, and I did alright with it. I'm blessed. And if you're trading right now and you're making money, like, blessed, man. Like, or gal, or whoever, like, if you're making money, like, and you're doing well, or you just see an opportunity, take it. I'm not telling you what to do. I really think individuals should always do what they want with their money. But I can't help but notice, right? Like, I was saying this to my coworker today. We were having a conversation. I'm like, doesn't it feel like this just keeps happening? Like every once in a while, there's like meme stock rally, or there's this big new stock, right? Like, or Bed Bath again, right? Or there was a couple times AMC when you look at specifically like June 2021, where it's like, oh, this is the big play. Did you see it's up like 50% again today? And it's like Bed Bath and Beyond is just beat down, right? And bankruptcy rumors go all around, swirl all around, get everyone riled up, beat the stock price down. Oh, it's a discount, I'll buy. And then suddenly, prices exploding. Everyone's, oh, FOMO into Bed Bath, FOMO into Bed Bath. And it's at the same time, GameStop is quietly just moves up like 10% 2 days in a row. Or like, just makes a significant move in a few days, like out of nowhere. And nobody's kind of talking about it, nobody's kind of looking at it. But it's like, wait, why does this always happen before GameStop starts doing this? But nobody, I feel like, can truly ultimately answer that, but it definitely has some kind of rollover going on, right? There's some kind of swaps rolling over, option writing, whatever exactly it is, something's rolling over, right? And we all see cost of borrow kind of reflecting that, like here. Oh no. But yeah, no, if you're in Bed Bath & Beyond and you believe in it and you have your own thesis, like, I'm all for you. Like, I'm not rooting against you in any way. I just think there's undoubtedly something strange, like, with the timing. Like, it's too obvious, right? Like, it's too perfect. Oh, yeah, like, Bed Bath is about to go bankrupt, and all of a sudden the price is making a big move. The retail investors are all getting in it. I don't know. I feel like I've been seeing people kind of, like, buying into Bed Bath, and people that are doing this more so as a long-term trade or long-term play in some way, not just, like, bought earlier this week and maybe going to sell tomorrow or whatever. Maybe they've been buying like a few weeks ago, like I've seen people on Twitter. I think they're more so like looking for like a swing trade, right? And they see like from here to here, but they weren't just suddenly buying massive amounts, right? Like they were maybe more so than before because the price was down, but not everybody all at once suddenly bought in. Like there's some kind of shorts covering going on, and I think it's like intentional timing is what I'm kind of saying. Is like some shorts are covering, but they were intended to cover during this time period to make people look that way while GameStop's over here. That's just kind of my thought on the whole thing. And yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy. Like you said, that guy Lou. Like I don't really know him like that. Like I don't really know that many of the AMC YouTubers. Everyone's probably seen him. Like who is this guy? Like oh, I've seen him on Twitter. Like I know of them, but I never really watched him. But it's funny now how like they all like we're talking like Trey and Matt Kors like just talk about random stuff. They don't even talk about AMC. That yeah, if Lou's talking about Bed Bath and Beyond now, it's like all of a sudden this is the new thing. Like this is the new stock. It's like all the AMC people just move on to the new thing. Like it's so sus, right? And it's like so unfortunate that Adam Aaron is still out here saying all this garbage. But yeah, I keep getting distracted. I didn't even tweet this out yet. Gotta send it to the boys as well. Thank you guys all for being here. I really do appreciate it very, very much. Out here. I also have to update like the thumbnail for my channel because I was having trouble adding like I made a little image that's supposed to be for the stream, but honestly I'm gonna add it on after for anyone that's gonna watch it back because I couldn't get it before and I'm trying not to be late to my streams. I'm trying to get better organized. Another 2023 resolution. RP, thanks for being here. Good evening, man. Good evening, Chad. Thanks for being here. Chad in the building. Chad's in the house. Timing of Ryan Cohen tweet and the GME run. Do you think he's in the know? I think Ryan Cohen absolutely knows more than we think, right? Because just interesting timing on, yeah, I agree, like some of his tweets and stuff. And I think like he makes it so vague, but just general enough so people know like he sees some of the stuff that other individuals sees, but like he can never be that particular because obviously he doesn't want to get in trouble in any way or anything like held against him because like anything could be done for anything these days, right? Like even the slightest thing, if you I feel like piss off the wrong person or you're going against the wrong person, the slightest thing can really be held or used against you, right? So I think he does know more. And also like look at this, like Ryan Cohen, like look at images of this guy, right? I think he absolutely knows about. Well, we know he knows about DRS, right? But like this, like when he came out and did his interview, and you see this, where is it? Where's his interview? See how in none of these though, the point I'm about to make is that I said this in a previous stream as well. He's never wearing a tie. Not one of these images he's ever wearing a tie, right? Not even one. Ryan Cohen interview. GMUDD. Okay, it's not. Oh wait, not with GMUDD. Dang. Bloomberg. Is that who it was? Come on. There's just the article. Is it Forbes? Oh, I don't want to go here. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay, I don't know exactly where it is, but he was wearing a tie, right? When he... Is this it? No, this isn't it. But basically, he's wearing a purple tie, right? Where is it? I have to find it now. It's driving me crazy. He has to have a decent understanding of what's going on. I think he definitely does, yes. I was thinking that Jackson Ryan timed the bottom. The previous buy for Ryan Cohen, when him and other board members bought in March, that was interesting timing, right? It seemed like something was rolling over. There's some cycles also going on at the same time of the buying. So that was definitely interesting. This is why I started to make GME positive videos myself.
Welcome
I think
to
it's
GME
important for
BB's
GME
interview
community
with
to
the
support
one, the
content
only
creator on
Ryan
YouTube
Cohen.
like Marines
I'm
and
Joe
yourself who
Tonesello,
for the
your
truth
host
for
for the next
GME.
hour.
Tiny Investor, well
Ryan
said. I'm
serves as
feeling
the
the same
chairman of
thing.
GameStop and the
Tiny
manager of
Investor,
Arts
shout out
Events.
to you. Everyone should go
Ryan,
check him out,
this is your
subscribe. I'll
first public
check
appearance
you
in
out
over
after
2
this. I
years,
got you.
and the only time
But
you've sat.
no, I don't want to get. Oh no, I'm gonna get demonetized. Oh no. I didn't mean to play that. I was not paying attention. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen. But this is, again, not what I'm looking for. But you guys know what I'm saying. He's wearing the purple tie. Ryan Cohen, purple tie. Let's see if maybe they wiped it from the internet so nobody could find it. Well, there is a lot of positive actions coming out of GameStop and steps in the right direction. Ryan Cohen and crew wouldn't have announced their success. Everyone will know. Ties, who needs them? Dude's what, 37? Ties are for boomers. Bearish on ties. Yes, we need to use algorithm to our benefit. True. But no, honestly, guys, I kind of like wearing a tie. I have to admit, I do kind of like the tie vibes. But I don't like fault anyone that doesn't want to wear one. Like, I understand, like, that's not like the, I don't know what the term is. Like, I don't know, it's not as like common now. It's not like you go to work in a tie, really. Like, I personally like it, so I can understand why you guys are bearish on ties. But personally, I'm bullish on ties. I like them. But dang, I still can't find it. I know this guy has it. Dang, all they're showing is this. But I'm telling you, that was a subtle nod, like DRS. What's up, bro? Ryan Sung, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. But yeah, what else should I talk about here? I wrote some other notes down. Like, you guys should see, like, this is just like when I have random ideas about GameStop, like, it literally looks like this. Like, I just write random stuff down. Just stuff I want to get done. It's crazy. Pen and paper's the way. But okay, oh yes, options. Let's look at those. See, like, when you guys want to, like, look stuff up, because, you know, I was talking about, like, do your own due diligence and stuff like that, like, I literally just Google stuff like this, like, or just look it up, and I just start looking into it, and I'm like, okay, let's start, understanding some stuff here. Let's see, how do I do... this whole thing. Oh, this is the one. Look at this. Look at this incredible amount of open interest. It's crazy. Like, what is hiding in these options, right? So much open interest. Then, so this is all puts, right? Out of the money puts. Or, I'm sorry. Where are we here? Yeah, out of the money puts. Because this is the yearly one that I was talking about before. And then even in the money puts, you got a decent amount. You got that option change is absolutely loaded. But you know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure this, like, altogether, the open interest, right? Look at this down here. This one, it's crazy. The open interest on this options chain, right, is literally collectively, like, I'm pretty sure 100,000 for just this one expiration. And if options, you know, simple math here tells us if there's 100,000 options, right, of open interest times 100, that means there's 100 million shares worth of obligations, right? Because if that's 1, 2, 3, or fuck, I can't do math. There's 10. Okay, whatever. It's a massive amount of shares, right? 100 million would be even more insane. But that's just for like one expiration, right? Just think about how many shares are tied up in that particular set of options, right? Like, it's just so interesting. You just don't see this with other stocks, right? Like, I can't like perfectly articulate it or give you some like blown away explanation, but like, this is undoubtedly strange. What's up, Tetron? Just got here. Danzo, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Linda Real, Tetron, appreciate you, Lindron. Future, I can't talk away. How do you say it? Linda Real, thank you for being here. Lucian DMG or Lucian Damage, hello, hi, thank you for being here. Is that like Lucian, like League of Legends? League of Legends is so like, I'm so bad, but I was a Vel'Koz main. Anyone got clues to why Ryan Cohen removes his chair in Book King? That's a good question. Yeah, let's go check out his Twitter. Do you personally expect a big jump in DRS numbers with people switching the book? Honestly, that's a great question. I am honestly thinking that regardless, we're going to see a jump in DRS numbers just because a lot of individuals like the stock, seem to be buying, and I think they'll register shares again. And I think what happened last quarter was orchestrated in some way, again, to just kind of discourage, and that's ultimately kind of what a short seller strategy is altogether, just discouragement, right, for individuals to not be long-term investors. So I do think a lot of people just like the stock, and that'll cause a jump. But if we see like a monster jump, it makes me think either one, that's the book thing, right? Going from plan to book. I've personally switched my shares. That's what I've chosen to do. Or it's some other orchestrated strange thing going on. Dang, look at all this strange stuff here. Trending. Twitter's so weird. Doing solid, like, just weird in terms of, like, it's the most random list of things here, and people, like, just, oh yeah, people are talking about this right now. He likes to go dark sometimes, makes the hedgies nervous. Honestly, I think you're right. Like, his silence just, like, scares him. Just like, well, what is he doing? He's not tweeting anything. He's not saying anything, right? Like, I don't know. Like, and I just feel like, ultimately, like, the silence is so loud, right? You can hear a pin drop. When they do anything, everybody's all over. There's a gazillion media articles, right, like, of negative energy that's quickly put out. Like, remember when GameStop launched the wallet app, right? Excuse me, on the iOS app, like, they finally launched it. Do you remember that? Probably not really. I mean, you probably do, right? But what I'm saying is, like, that day, there was all this FUD, stock was down big, there was this going on, that, like, all this garbage articles, right? And not one really mentioning that GameStop just launched its wallet. If they weren't counting the plan accounts, I'm not sure I've seen a straight answer that said only book entries were counted from Computershare, just that we need to reach out to GameStop Investor Relations. Computershare said both plan and book numbers are sent to GameStop. Have you ever gone and liked Ryan Cohen's tweets and they get deleted? It's really ridiculous. I've done it like 30 times. Yeah, honestly, for me personally, I've never really had my likes like disappeared on Ryan Cohen's tweets. Maybe like once or twice, but honestly, I haven't like checked back like all the way deep. I was about to say they actually were right here, but I just always on like a private tab, so I'm not logged in. But it's definitely happened like once or twice, but not as commonly as I've seen it happen for other people. And in terms of plan versus book, like, I don't really expect a massive jump, right? I'm saying it's possible, but ultimately, I think maybe, I don't know, it does like factor in some other way, right? Maybe it doesn't change the DRS count. However, maybe planned shares can still be used as a locate in some funny way, and then booked shares can't. And that's kind of what's causing like things to get a little bit spicier now in this cycle, and just the big bad bath pump, right? I don't know. I'm just kind of spitting off the dome here, just some speculations. And it's interesting, like, I feel like he does these very subtle things, right? Like, removes his bio, because he knows, like, literally, like, he's doing the most subtle thing. He removes his Twitter bio. And you have, like, people like me streaming, talking about, like, yo, why did I go and remove his Twitter bio? You have everybody talking to their friends on Reddit, and probably even the short sellers, I think, are probably behind the closed doors. What does this mean? Well, why did he just remove that he's the book king? Why is he not the book king anymore? What's going on, right? Like, I just think, like, it's hilarious that he could do the most simple thing, right? Like, and everyone will be like, yo, what does it mean? What is he doing? Like, I remember seeing, like, a tweet, like, remember when he put, like, the fork in his nose or whatever? Or, not fork in his nose, the chopsticks in his nose? I have to find it. But people were saying, like I saw the funniest meme on Superstock. I remember having cracking up. Oh dang, I guess you can't do that unless you're logged in. Whatever. But basically, it was like with the chopsticks in his nose, and people said like the meme was like, oh, Ryan Cohen's probably sitting at the table with his friends saying like, bro, it's crazy. I can literally tweet anything, and they'll come up with all these theories. And his friend's like, no way, bro. He's like, I'll show you right now. All right. And his friend's like, alright, why don't you go ahead and stick those 2 chopsticks in your nose, take a picture and post it. I bet they can't come up with anything. Ryan Cohen's like, watch me. And it's like just all these theories. Like, again, that's just like a meme, but I thought that was pretty funny because literally he does the slightest thing and everybody's like, what does it mean? But it's kind of epic, right? Like, I think it just makes him like such a boss. Like, he doesn't want to be like Adam Aaron, like, oh, for the people, I'm for this, I'm for that, I don't care about this. Like, come on, bro. See, this guy doesn't even come up because he's a clown. Oh, is it CEO Adam, right? There he is. Clown show. He doesn't even pay for the check mark. Bozo. Alright. at Jay, just went last week and reliked and retweeted all the last year's DFVs too. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, I have to go back in deep effing value stuff. It's been a minute. He's such a legend. He really is such a legend. No, he just went off the grid too. Like, I think he just understands that like there are people in higher places in this world. You don't want to get too big, and he was just put a huge spotlight on. They literally brought this man to like testify, which by the way, SBF didn't have to testify, but you know, Roaring Kitty has to testify. It makes perfect sense in this world, right? No corruption there. But anyone here in BBBY, I've got a lot of GameStop. I picked up quite a bit of Bed Bath & Beyond under $3, and I can't wait to take profits and make a huge investment on GameStop with it. Honestly, was it Georgian? If you can do that, I really hope you can. I would say just tread lightly. You know, I feel like we've seen this song and dance so many times. Just, oh, this stock's hot. Oh, this is that. This is the big retail play. There's a gamma squeeze, right? All this different stuff. But if you're in it and you're making money, I'm very happy for you. And I would like to have faith that if you're in a play, you have good due diligence on it and you feel good about it. So if that's the case, then I think you should just stick to your plan and just try and like zoom out. Remember the big picture. And when you're in the moment of the trade or whatever, just try not to get caught up in the heat of it or the emotion or like, oh, just a little bit more. Like if you have a set price, you know, you should just take your price and get out, right? That's what I think when it comes to trading. But of course, not a financial advisor here, just sharing my personal thoughts and opinions. Look at this clown. Why do I even have him on the screen? Look at this bozo. I mean, like, it's not like I shouldn't like look at like ugh. It just disturbs me. But yeah, he's just like the pictures like, I'll ride with you. Really? That's why you sold your shares and you're diluting the company like crazy, and you know you did all that shady stuff with Mudrick that it's being exposed. But okay. Do you think January is critical for Jamie, like a lot of swap expiration theories claim? Yes, I'm telling you, every time you look back, see you still look gone. My likes expire after 24 hours. That's crazy. Did you guys see the YouTube video of the math teacher? I forget his name, but he said there's a 2-year thing that and then in January, so hopefully something good happens. Yes, Richard Newton. I watched some of that. It was one of those like I was like half watching and half doing something else, so I have to watch it back to really understand. But he has some really good information in there, and Richard Newton is awesome, man. Like that guy is great. Like I really am happy I discovered his channel. Let's see. Come up here. This guy's a legend. You guys should definitely check him out. He has some great information. And the way he just like covered... Are we back? I think we're good. Yeah, I really need a haircut. This is literally crazy. It's getting wild. It's getting out of control. The Citadel AMC connection. It's facts. Marantz be speaking facts too. You guys definitely should check him out as well. Marantz, the homie.
Happy Wednesday.
Yes, he also has a good video on NFTs. Yes, GameStop is now a tech stock. Web3 side of things lead me to consider it a tech stock. I would think so too, yeah. I mean, I think it's just building more towards that, and I would say we would maybe say it's a tech stock, right? Me and you as individuals. But I think just in the outer space, right, of like what people look at GameStop as. Gotta get the kids to bed. Might pop back on later. Peace, y'all. Thanks, Tetron. RP, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. You're the man. Thank you. And the e-commerce too. Yeah, that's true too. That's also a good point. They definitely had that a little bit. And something also I don't think people realize is like, for a long time, GameStop was just poorly managed, right? Like they had a private jet. The GameStop board did not need a private jet, right? It was just an unneeded expense. And just honestly, what I think is kind of an inside job, because why would you need a private jet? And they make bad recommendations like don't sell the Wii on the holiday season when the Wii was popping during that time period, right? And just, oh yeah, spend all this money on this and that. And it's like, and keep the unprofitable stores open. Like, don't just let things kind of ride as is. Like, it's, you know, like, you have to ask yourself why. And I just think a lot of shady things were going on there. And for that reason, they didn't do things like upgrade e-commerce, right? Like GameStop's website now, right? Looks so much better, so much sharper, cleaner. It looks modernized. And also, they just implemented like retail technology, so they can figure out, okay, well, what sells here better, what sells there. I think it's called SAP technology. I forgot. I made a video on it a long time back. But essentially, it's something like groundbreaking. But the company's just so underdeveloped for so long. They didn't really use technology to make stronger, better business decisions, right? Nothing groundbreaking, just like, hey, well, in this geographical location, we're selling more of this, so we should probably be shipping more of this here, right? Hey, in this area, we don't sell as much of this. Okay, well, we don't need to, we can cut the shipment in half for that particular item, right? Or that category of items in that region. And then they can go deeper. Okay, well, is it a certain brand in this region? Is it a certain type of product? Does it have something to do with the climate, right? Like all these little things, right? Like retail can really go deep with the analytics. And I think that's what, numbers can tell you. Like numbers don't lie. And numbers can really help you create like analytical solutions or just analytical like opportunities for growth. So I think underdevelopment of technology is really going to start to not be a problem for GameStop anymore. Like they just implemented it, but it didn't really like, it's not really like making a groundbreaking difference. It's like, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but just basically it's going to make a difference and we're never really going to see it like, oh, well, here it is. Here's the difference. But just over time, the company's just constantly getting stronger and just learning to operate better and just has the little things like that going where the technology is just making the company better, and the numbers, they have a strong management team now that's going to like actually look at it and say, okay, well, this makes sense, we're going to do X, Y, and Z because we saw ABC in the last report. Good advice, I appreciate it. I think RC still has a plan for it. I believe private equity will buy BBBY, so baby to Cohen to pay off some of the debt. I still like Carl Icahn buying BBBY theory. Then Cohen would carve out baby shares to GameStop holders, which would create FOMO on GameStop. GameStop hired a carve-out person quite a bit ago. And yes, I do remember that. It's possible. It's definitely possible. And I think Ryan Cohen had some interest in baby. I really do, considering he came out with like Teddy. But Marantz has a really interesting theory that he made a video on. You guys should definitely check it out about GameStop potentially acquiring Teddy, and Ryan Cohen and just some other things going on. They're kind of operating in the shadows through Teddy, and then GameStop could come in and acquire Teddy, and then we could suddenly see everything that's been kind of built and created behind the scenes with Teddy. That was kind of like the point Marantz was making, and I think that'd be really interesting. But maybe in some way or another, Baby's a part of that plan too, but I think only if GameStop can get it for a great price. In terms of acquisitions in general for GameStop, right? Like we heard Matt Furlong say on the earnings call, like, okay, we have cash, we're ready to deploy it if there's the proper acquisition out there, right? So maybe like a headset company, right? Or something like that. Or even, yeah, Bye Bye Baby is like on the table for a good price, or maybe the part of the acquisition plan is Teddy. But if it is Bye Bye Baby, I think it'd have to be a great price or just any acquisition in general. Because if you look at GameStop's previous earnings, right? Quarterly, or just look at GameStop investor relations. We could see now, right? Like part of their money is now in cash, right? Cash that is yielding interest, right? Like they're actually putting it into like government bonds just for, or like a money market account, right? Like, you can have your money in like Fidelity money market account right now, or like Ally Savings, right? One of those online savings banks, and you could get like 3% right now because interest rates are higher. So those banks are just putting the money into like the government bonds and just other related things that are instruments literally from the US government. So they're like, okay, you know what, we can just pay out the clients a high interest yield now, right? Whereas for a long time, when the market was booming and everything, nobody's saving money, nobody's just holding money, and that's why there's all these like quote unquote zombie companies, because there's just all this money out there because there's no interest rates, right? There's no like interest rates on the debt. But now that's starting to kind of become a problem, and I think that's kind of why we're seeing everything starting to get spicy with Bed Bath and Beyond. But basically what I'm going to show you here is they basically put part of their cash actually into like a money market account. So like they're getting yield. So they're not just going to go throw this cash around. They want to make sure they have like a strong position, right? Just to make sure like when the opportunity does come, number one, they can actually make the acquisition. And number two, just to like be able to like deal with these times we're in just as a whole. Obviously, I don't think sales are going to be booming just because the economic times are tough, and it doesn't seem like sales in general of just any company are doing all that well, and just look at the market as a whole. So where are we here? Marketable securities. There we go. $238 million, right? That's a lot of money. That's literally about 20% of their cash reserve, closer to 25, that they're getting like high yield interest on, right? So They still have a massive amount of cash ready to go, ready to roll, could send it out, but we know they're going to at least keep 238 million, and you have to imagine they keep a little bit more for a rainy day and any other potential things they might need it for or develop. So ultimately, I don't think any acquisition, what I'm getting at as a whole, is going to cost them a lot, or they'll do any deal that costs them a lot. They'll want to make sure they get a great bargain at the end of the day if they make that acquisition. I thought I was the only one who went into my retirement account and my wife's and put the whole entire thing and actually have 6 different accounts, all GME. I've bought shares every single week. Jay the legend. You are a legend, Jay, for that. But definitely, you want to just always manage your risk. Make sure you feel good about it. But if you feel good about your investment, at the end of the day, you're an individual. You're always going to do what you like. But yeah, it's crazy to see like GameStop just going through all this and just day after day, just time, month by month, week by week, whatever you want to look at it as, right? Like, just individuals buying more stock. Like, I know I'm personally doing that. It's just because I like it, and I'm also learning like really long-term values in like a tangible way, right? Like, I learned this stuff in school and like whatnot with finance. Like, oh yeah, you're supposed to like save this and do this with your money, and like long-term investing, you want to read about the company, all this, or like what you're supposed to do. Now I'm like really doing it, where it's like I've held this stock for a long time. I constantly read about everything going on to the point I have a YouTube channel and I'm talking about it, right? Like, I'm never here like saying like do this, do that, or like I'll present you with some information, right, some numbers, but I'm never gonna give you anything like groundbreaking. And like Richard Newton, what he does over there with the numbers and stuff, like that's like in my eyes like groundbreaking and just very unique, right? And like here, I'm just kind of telling you like, hey, this is what I think. Like, these are my thoughts. Like, you'll even see how I'm just like searching things up, like just to kind of see like my back end of like due diligence process, just as like an individual, especially just as a younger individual who just kind of discovered stocks. I've been playing around stocks literally since like I think 9th grade, or like I remember in middle school, I had my mom take me to Scott's Trade, who was acquired eventually by TD Ameritrade, and they helped me open an account, and they were explaining to her, and she's like, I don't know anything. You gotta talk to him. And she just like did the custodial account or whatever, where she had like the rights, but I would just do like trades and stuff and just messing around. And then like I've never actually held. I only really traded in all that time. Like, I was on and off with it in small positions, but like never really held like the way I have with GameStop, just because I see something like so unique here, and I just see an ultimate like demand with a very limited supply as individuals continue to do us. What's up with the Logan Paul NFT scandals? NFTs have such a negative connotation as it is for being a scam, but it really got hammered by social media. I hope GameStop will change the narrative. Okay, I'll answer that in a second. Move here, and thank you for being here. I think Cohen was going to do something with BBBY. Now I think he's going to do something with Babies R Us instead. It's possible. I mean, in some way, could he bring a bunch of these names together? Maybe, but I don't know exactly how he'll do it or what his plan would be with that, but anything's possible. I'm a little behind the live stream, but as far as logic goes, that's how Menards make so much money. I work for Menards, and their core business model is strong logistics. Oh, logistics, not logics, duh. But yeah, no, logistics, absolutely, yeah. And just understanding, like, okay, like, if this, then that, or like, in this category, we're seeing this, so we should adjust in this way. And you just have people that are actively making these changes. And if you had management in the past that, like, one, didn't have, like, the technology, software, or just information to even make these changes, or two, the desire to, because I mean, if you're getting massive compensation, not in the form of shares, like, who cares what the company's doing, right? And who cares if they do like whatever? You've been playing with stocks since middle school? Lucky. No, I mean, maybe like 7th or 8th grade, and then even at that time, like, I remember buying like some ETF, and like the first year just like held after like 6 months, and I was like, no, my money's better here. Like, I've messed with the options. Like, I do have to say, as a young individual, I've been blessed with like a lot of like, how do I put it? Like, I've honestly touched my toes and everything through high school and all that. Like, I've messed with Forex, I've messed with like trying to trade crypto, like you name it. Because at that time, thankfully, what I'm saying here too is I didn't have that much money to lose, and like I wasn't going all in at that time, and I was just like broke high school kid and like early college kid and like middle school. What money do you have besides what you get from like Christmas gifts? So like I didn't have money to be going crazy, so I had an opportunity to get a lot of experiences and realize like there's a lot of ways to get screwed over trying to do silly things or make like a quick buck. So if you do trade, I really do advise like just really understand what you're doing and really do have a plan. Because again, I'm just a young individual, but I feel like I've dipped my toes in a lot of different stuff, and a lot of times I've just been like, you know what? If I just look back and like I just bought and held a lot of what my theses were, even when I was in like high school. So this is a good stock. Like I really swear I believed in Tesla in high school and actually put Tesla in my mom's IRA a little bit, and it's obviously turned out very nicely. And I took some nice profits for her there. And my point is like if I just stuck with my conviction and just instead of getting caught up in the quick buck, right? It's so easy to get caught up in that, especially now with the internet. But I don't know, kind of just a rant there. But also, I wanted to get back to what Movier said. What's up with the Logan Paul NFT scandal? NFTs already do have a connotation. Okay, great point. Let's see what we got. So let's see. Yeah, so I've looked at it a little bit, right? So I do understand. I just want to see. Oh my gosh, bro. This drama is hilarious. Honestly, I think Logan Paul's a clown. He literally is a sellout. I mean, I don't know. Like, sometimes I thought he was okay, but he's just, I don't know. He's whack. He's all for show. He'll do anything because he's told or like it has to be. But in regards to what's happening, personality in the market is everything. It's true. But in regards to Logan Paul and the NFTs, I do think it's another negative connotation for NFTs. But I really feel like when it comes to NFTs, they're not really going to be called that at the end of the day. They're going to just like eventually be known as like digital assets or some other like common name. Because like what it is underlying is so much more than like the name NFT. Like everybody I talk to now that just hears NFT, like pictures of monkeys and stuff like that, or those things people like celebrities like scamming and this and that. But it's really not the case, because what's happening here is it's NFTs and that's just a name, but what it is underlying is just so much more. And what GameStop's trying to enable is something with utilization, right? And ultimately what's happening with Logan Paul, he's trying to do some like hatching thing, right? Let's literally see it, Crypto Zoo. And it's like, it is just a negative connotation again, but I don't really think at the end of the day, like, that is what's going to take it, just these like weird things like this, like whatever this garbage is that he's building, and now suddenly just repairing because he's getting exposed. Basically, it's all about the utility. That's what it's coming down to, utility, and layer 2 is going to enable that because of cheaper transactions. So we'll see what it comes down to over time, or how much are NFTs really utilized, and in what ways they're going to be utilized. Like one way I think is really going to be big, and if GameStop can get involved in some way, would be ticket sales, because I think just a ticket is a memorable thing. Just have a nice NFT of it. Hey, I went to this concert, I literally used this to get in, plus now I have it in my wallet forever. That is a very good point on the price of their acquisition. I appreciate your insight. It does put a damper on my idea, as Cohen said himself, his values baby at, what is it? If said himself he values baby at over $1 billion, I'll keep digging. No, it's a good point. I did kind of forget that he said that. I'm glad you brought that up. If he valued BBBY Baby at potentially $1 billion, and that was his original letter, I mean, you would have to think it's possible that he could still have some kind of plan with it. And someone, I think, I'm not sure if it was you who mentioned before, or that, yes, it was you, that they carved out, GameStop actually hired a carve-out person a while ago. So it's possible, but it's also possible, like maybe Teddy and BBBY Baby is all together, right? I mean, definitely, keep looking into it. I'm sure research never hurts, right? But appreciate your comments on here. Thank you. Okay, let's look at this garbage, Crypto Zoo. The amount of scripted hate on NFTs reminds me of a hit piece for the budget. It's part of strategy to sway the narrative away from GameStop. Honestly, it seems like it, because it's like, I do laugh too. Like, this is just with everything in general, right? In this world and life. Everybody loves to, like, hate. Like, everyone's like, that thing. Or everyone's, like, so happy. Like, or like, I said, I'm in crypto. People are like, crypto? But, like, if I said in crypto, I was in crypto, like, a year ago, they're like, oh, nice. It's just so funny how, like, easily people, like, in my eyes, at least, forget, like, what the long-term chart is, right? Like if you just look at Bitcoin, very simply, right? Look at this chart. It's always the same. Massive run up in some way. Like if you zoom back here, see run up, fall, run up, fall. Like you can't see as much, but here are the most obvious ones. Run up, fall. Run up, extended run up, fall. Okay, it'll probably be like this. Probably 2025 it's going to take off again, right? And just when Bitcoin takes off, Ethereum takes off, the market as a whole takes off, and it's kind of working out perfectly where the whole market as a whole, like beyond crypto, is kind of in recession or just pulling back completely. So it would make sense that eventually that shit's got to turn around, right? And then crypto's going to turn around too. So it kind of seems like it's lining up. And it's just, again, yeah, another like just push narrative. And I think it just easily is eaten up by people because they just focus on the short term. Babies R Us is owned by hedge funds now. They only have one location. Oh, my bad if I said Babies R Us. I meant Bye Bye Baby and Teddy. I think that would be interesting. But hey, Babies R Us, maybe something with the name. But I don't know. What I was gonna say about CryptoZoo too. What does this mean? Is undergoing upgrades to core infrastructure of the ecosystem. Dear zookeepers, we are thrilled to announce the CryptoZoo ecosystem has upgrades underway and core infrastructure is being revamped. During the phase of building where the infrastructure is worked on, zookeepers may experience an extended period of downtime with various functionality with CryptoZoo, dApps, and Marketplace. Please note all current assets existing in the ecosystem will be 100% compatible with all future updates and releases. Apologize for inconvenience experienced during this downtime. But it's funny, like, this whole thing wasn't even talked about. Everybody forgot about CryptoZoo until this guy CoffeeZilla absolutely exposed this guy, and pretty much he just got everybody that invested on it, and he was like, "Hey, what happened? How did it go?" And they just said like, "Yeah, they told us this, they promised us this," and like we just stopped hearing anything about it. And then he even reached out to the developer that Logan Paul claimed like stole everything and left, and it was like he didn't even exist, or like he wasn't even who he was listed as, like all this shady stuff. So it's like, I don't know, Logan Paul, there's no way he was doing the right thing there. And just again, yeah, another negative connotation. And like, honestly, I feel like he's a puppet. So like, what a perfect guy to do that to. Or for what a perfect guy to be exposed, right? FTT coins on a mega sale, FTT coins on my, FTX saga continues. CoffeeZilla is the best. Yeah, no, that dude is pretty awesome. I'm glad I found him and I watched some of his videos. Like, he's pretty funny. Like, I became just a little robot there, too. That's pretty cool. Like, it's literally just like a guy he's talking to, or like he's just like sharing his thoughts. Like, I don't know, he's pretty cool. He's a cool dude, and like the way he made his channel is very unique, and I like that aspect of people. Yeah, expect a lot of people sold out, but CoffeeZilla kept on saying the same. Let's see. Wait, I didn't mean to type onslaught. I meant to type FTT token. Let's see. It is so interesting that this is moving. And ultimately, like, what is it with the tokenized stock, right? Like, I don't know exactly what, but you can't deny there's something shady going on there. Because GameStop's tokenized stock just so happens to start trading in January of 2021. Give me a break. That's crazy. Like, what are the chances of that? Like, there's no way. Like, there's literally no way. Like, I can't tell you exactly what or why it's created or what's going on with it, but it's like, at the end of the day, like, there's got to be a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Or, I mean, things that happen that particularly times happen for a reason, right? Alright, let's see. What other random things have I scribbled down recently? But yeah, I think, I don't know. Things are just going to continue to get spicy, and like, the best thing I could say is that like a lot of unexpected things I feel like are going to come up in the next few days, or few months rather. Just, I don't know, the best part about this whole saga to me is that there's always like the aspect of expect the unexpected. And it just feels like every single time, right? Like, you just are so down, or just GameStop's been down for like ever. You're just like, what's going on? Like, I just don't understand. The next cycle should be here. It should be this. It should be that. Right? Why did this come up? You just have to wonder, like, why? And then, or what's going on? And then all of a sudden, GameStop just starts moving like this, right? Like in a very short period of time. In literally like 2 trading days plus like an hour or two, right? It's like 2.5 trading days, we'll call it. Stock moves up from like $16.50 to like $20. Like that's such a significant move in such a short amount of time. Not even that much volume. In that same time frame, Bed Bath just pumps, AMC pumps, all these other like random stocks that have high short interest like tend to pump, right? Like I saw like Carvana today, I think was up massively. And that's a company that literally might go under too. So it's like, I don't know. Is a lot of short positions just being covered today? Or is there a lot of like, ooh, look at that shiny thing? Because it's just interesting. Like, if I'm getting tinfoily hat here, but just a nice steady walk up. What a great trade for anybody. What an enticing thing to buy into and potentially move your capital. Look at this. Carvana admitted it broke the law in Michigan, but it could keep selling cars there. Nice. Definitely would want to go to Carvana. By the way, screw Hertz. Worst experience ever with them. Never rent a car. Brought that up in my last stream. Using crypto is another way to provide liquidity. There has to be more on these tokenized stocks. Yes, I think there is more on these tokenized stocks. What exactly? Hard to say. And I try and dig into it, but there's just so many like FTX is all a giant black hole, right? It was purposely created like that. It was purposely like nothing was really saved on file. Everything's just like, oh, you have some money? Yeah, sure. You have Bitcoin in your account. Send it to Almeida. Let him do whatever. Like, and that girl, she's like, yeah, we don't really believe in stop losses. It's an outdated strategy. Like, I remember thinking, like, what the heck? But at that time, you're like, I don't know. She has like $1 billion company and like just some like really looks like some college girl. And she's some $1 billion Almeida research. Like, what do I know? She's the $1 billion, right? So you just think that, and at the time, but now in hindsight, you're like, that person was saying stop losses are stupid, and it's like, look at who they were in the long run of things. So it's crazy, like that, like literally SBF and her are like smashing, like they're literally like girlfriend and ex-girlfriend and boyfriend, and like it's the whole thing is just crazy. Like where they put there in a certain way, and SBF's connections, like all this stuff just makes me like tear a hair out at night. It's crazy. It's just crazy. You just have to sometimes like step back, I feel like, and just breathe and be like, this is all like too real sometimes. But using crypto as another way to provide liquidity, honestly, I think so. Like, what interesting timing again that like Bitcoin is just moving up right now. Like, I don't know, things don't seem all that great, and like the market's not doing that amazing since the new year. But year to date, Bitcoin's just doing amazing. Like, I don't know. And again, just right when GameStop starts to run, and all these other stocks are being pushed up massively, like why is all this money just flooding in the market all of a sudden, right? In theory, or why are all these shorts just cut? Like, I don't know. Like, is it as a smokescreen? Is it because something bigger is happening with GameStop? Is it, hey, this is just the way things are kind of going right now? A lot of shorts are trying to cover. Crypto's going through a liquidity pump for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, again, just spinning off the dome. These are the thoughts I have throughout the day. That's why I realized, like, live stream's kind of fun, because you could just kind of say, like, whatever, like, or I like that I can, like, kind of jump topic to topic and, like, circle my way back and just make all these different points, because just literally, I don't want to say like GME thoughts. That's like a blurb of thoughts in those videos, and I'm trying to like collect them all together and create some solid train of thought, because otherwise it's a video, it's hard to follow. Whereas in a stream, maybe you're probably doing something right now, maybe you're just listening, because a lot of times I put this stuff on the screen, but then all of a sudden I'm going like this most of the time. So it's part, like the fun part is I can just kind of rant and just share these different ideas, and you guys in the comments, like sometimes you'll say something, it'll make me think something, and then I'll say something and it might make you think, oh well, I should look into that now, I didn't even think about that. So gotta love it. D Slaughter, thank you for being here. And yes, yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't put in the work like Morantz and like Richard Newton on here with some of the numbers. Like, those guys are grinding, man. They grind. But thank you. No, it is still work that I'm trying to put in here. So thank you. I appreciate that. SBF must have been fully exposed, no financial prenup. Facts. She was like, yo, what do you mean you're not going to sign a prenup? Give me Almeida research or else I'm not going to do anything with you anymore. And didn't they all like live together too? Like, oh, so much weird stuff. Which stocks do you hold other than GME? So I have very, very, very minor positions of stocks I have from a long time ago in like an IRA. But any individual stocks are long gone at this point, and I've invested into GameStop personally. But I have, again, just some small positions that are old in an IRA, and I'll just let it be. And I was liquidating positions in my IRA, and the reason I stopped towards GameStop, because ultimately that's what I believe in as a whole, and I just feel more comfortable with, and I just see like what Cede Co is, and I may just lose so much faith in the market as a whole and other stocks. But I still do have those other positions that I realize like I don't want more shares in my IRA because one, I'm so young, that's so far down the line, and two, shares in my IRA are not going to be DRS'd. I want my shares, like I'm going to buy shares in my name. I want them DRS'd. I ultimately truly believe that the brokers will screw individuals again, as they did in the past when the buy button's removed. It's in their clauses, right? If anything goes wrong at the end of the day, brokers can do what they want. The shares are in the name of Cede Co. So it's crazy. It really is crazy. So for that reason, I only DRS shares from here, and I only own shares like in my name. And I have some shares in my IRA still, but I fully expect that like I could get screwed on this. I really do. Like of course I hope not. You know, who wants to be screwed on their shares in any way? And I'll fight for whatever I need to fight for because I think they should still be mine. But I understand they're not technically mine if they're in the brokerage. I wouldn't trust SPX or SPF with my gas money. Could be bothered to shower and get dressed for work. He adapted the Epstein too. Honestly, Epstein and SPF. It's interesting ties. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to get to that in too tinfoily, but and just also like things happen at interesting times too, right? Andrew Tate just so happens to be arrested the day like JP Morgan was like suing like Epstein or something. I don't even know, is it? But it's like I don't know if they're like I'm not saying like an opinion on the Andrew Tate thing, but what I'm saying is like see like and then the Biden administration went to the Virgin Island. Like I don't know, it's so like all that I don't know. It's just interesting, right? That all this stuff is going on, and at the same time Andrew Tate gets arrested, and it's like that's what everyone's talking about. That's what the media's going crazy about. Suddenly nobody cares about Epstein. So it's like a lot of smoke screens, you know, and just the whole world is like, oh look here, oh look at this, and like even like you open Google and like the first thing you see a lot of times is like I don't know, like you're like why is this here? Like is this really what I would have thought about? Like it's crazy. That's actually a good point. I didn't even think about that. Usually stocks in the same sector move together, but stocks in different sectors. It's true. It's true. It's just so odd. BBBY volume is ridiculous. What float? That's a good point. Yeah, we should look at Bed Bath and Beyond's float. I'm curious. Yep, organize my own GME thoughts. Thanks, Doug. Dumb 8741. You should just rename yourself right now to 8741. You're not dumb, bro. You're just a homie. You're good. You're good. And I'm thankful that like you're thinking that or like that you're getting good thoughts based off of my thoughts. So that's awesome. And I do remember actually just hit me why Netflix always comes up on here. I remember the first major options trade I ever did. I got 4 friends and we bought a one like for a $10. It was $10 premium on a put option for Netflix, something like that. And we split it 5 ways. We collectively traded and we calculated out after like what the tax would be. I think it was in my account, so I kept like the tax money on like the capital gains. And we collectively bought a put on Netflix. And I think it was like literally like in high school. So I think it was like back here. And then I think thankfully we cashed that down here because like obviously if we held it really wouldn't have done much. But it was somewhere in this range where we made money. So that's why it always comes up as like my commonly searched thing to this day on the Brave browser, which is kind of crazy. But it's pretty funny because yeah, that was my first ever options trade or like group options trade. It's the strangest thing. But like yeah, we all think it's gonna go down. Let's just like bet on it together. So that was funny. Called my broker on the phone, let him know I'm switching to DRS if he wants out my shares. I have some shares DRS too though. Yeah, no, honestly, the thing is, XBit, like, and I definitely think, you know, like, as an individual, everyone's got to do what they want with their shares, and like, if you have a good connection with your broker, you know, it's probably going to help if things go from like ugly to disgusting or like whatever shady things start happening or whatever, you want to have that connection. But all I'm saying is like, there's still the like thing going on that like every share is in the name of Cede Co and the brokers, and if there's some like market maker out there, right? They're like, oh well, we'll just come up with the shares later. They're out there in the name of Cede Co. So at the end of the day, they're not like specifically being used as locates or specifically being borrowed, but like in the grand picture, they could say like, oh hey, like this is there's shares still in the name of Cede Co. They're in that pool, and it's like I don't know. That's just why I think like because like don't get me wrong, I literally have shares in my IRA in my Fidelity IRA, but it's like I don't know. I just think like those are still in the name of Cede Co. and in some way still out there. Those shares in the mind of the market makers like, oh well, it's technically a locate. They're technically out there. They're technically discoverable. They're just in the name of Cede Co. It's just in that giant pool. The shares are somewhere, but they're really just like in the brokers. But I don't know. Kind of just like ranting there, a little ramble. The broker didn't hold anything last time. They just issued a volatility warning. Well, that's good. Yeah, no, I mean, if you guys trust your broker, then listen, do what you want as an individual for sure. I'm just saying for me personally, like I just feel very strongly about DRS. I just feel like in that moment in time when I had my shares, I was like, okay, or like when I had like shares in stocks or I wanted to buy more shares, just seeing everything going on, I just felt like there was no. Like, I didn't have somebody to call. I didn't have a broker to buy shares for. I didn't have any of that access. So I just feel like next time I want to just feel as safe as I can with DRS. But that's just me personally. And again, I do still have shares in my Fidelity IRA. So, at the end of the day, I do have exposure to the brokerages. And if something does get ugly with the brokers or they do try and screw me in some way, I'm going to fight as much as I can because I still want those shares, obviously. They're still shares that I bought and put my hard-earned money into. So why did Robinhood owe Citadel $3 billion when the buy button was shut down? Let's see. I'm outside America though. Oh, word. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, America was just like, it's crazy. I remember the calling. I forgot which one I was trying to call, or even why, but it was just like, with extreme wait times today or something like that. Webull's lending on stock that's deleted, so definitely not trustworthy. Yeah, Webull is very, very sus, honestly. They have like good interface just to like look at random stuff, but like it's just sus. Like I don't know. And then so why did Robinhood owe Citadel $3 billion when the buy button was shut down? That's a great question. Well, I think one, just leverage and just not good capital management, because the whole thing with the GameStop report, right, is they basically came out and said like the NSCC, right? I think the technical thing was, right? Like, let's see, the GameStop report was basically like margin calling Robinhood, like leading up to it, or like kind of letting them know, like your liquidity, like you got to do something about this, and like it just seems like they were kind of just blowing it over, like oh, it's just an abnormally like in the week prior, abnormal week of trading. It's like oh yeah, like whatever, like Robinhood could just pay it back, or just it's fine, it doesn't actually matter if they don't really have it, like we got you, like we know you. But then all of a sudden, like, the volume and everything just gets out of control, and this is like market maker to market maker, brokerage to brokerage, it's everywhere, up to the DTC, so the phone calls probably come from DTC at that point, where it's like, hey, we can't just like let you off the hook like this, we suddenly need you to provide a lot of margin. And I think at that point, Robinhood is like, wait, what? Instead I was like, yeah, $3 billion, please, because now DTC is knocking on our door. So I think it was one of those, like, the call came from the top in some way. So it's crazy. But yeah, sorry guys, I feel like I'm starting to ramble here. I might wrap it up soon. I feel like when I get into like these rambly rants, they're fun, don't get me wrong, but like I'm just starting to be like, oh, what was my original point? But yeah, look at this. Float. Oh damn, Bed Bath's float's way bigger than I remembered it, but I mean it's still trading like many times over. And it is interesting, something else I didn't mention, that GameStop's public short interest did just go up a little bit out of nowhere for the first time in a long time. Just like 5-6 million shares, something like that. So nothing very bizarre, but they even made a video on it. That's crazy. Damn, I played a couple other videos before by accident, or I think I'm gonna get I don't know, I'm always worried about, like, it's the freaking world, man, you get canceled for anything. Like, I'm like worried about getting canceled, but YouTube's gonna put a strike on my account, because before I started playing that that stream or that interview with Ryan Cohen with GMEDD. So, whatever. Hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble in any way. Or also, like, if something like this starts playing, like, am I gonna get demonetized? Like, it just started playing. I didn't ask for it. Like, FTDs. What if they owed $3 billion because we were buying stocks and they weren't actually buying the shares, and then it got out of control? It's so ridiculous, embarrassing to the public. Is that even possible? Catch on live exit. ABAM, thank you for being here. And then, exit in regards to that. I mean, I feel like anything's possible because it's like one of those, like, nobody's really ever checked this stuff or like done any deep market due diligence. Like, some have, right? Like, there's Dr. Susan Trimbath, but nobody has the way so many individuals have shown a spotlight on this, right? So the way that's happened now, it's just so different and so unique, and you'd have to think, like, it's possible that the whole time, like, they're really not doing what they're supposed to do. And, like, look, a great example is, like, two great examples, FTX and, like, Bernie Madoff. Like, everybody just, like, around them must have kind of knew, like, oh, what is this girl's name? I saw a great interview the other day. She was talking about how she worked at FTX and she had all these different roles, and they basically flew her out to the Bahamas. They gave her $200 a day. This girl, she was saying that she worked at FTX, $200 a day on DoorDash. She didn't even know how to spend it. So it was like, there were red flags, and like everybody at the company knew, and like they're just kind of like, okay. And it's like, you didn't tell me regulators didn't know anything about this stuff. And then when SBF was on Capitol Hill, literally talking to the administration about like crypto regulations, like, that's so sus. Like, and it's like, my point is, like, all these things can happen, and all these things were happening for so long before SBF and FTX, these freaking letters, yo. FTX got exposed, and Bernie Madoff, for so long, so many people knew all these different things, right? And, like, I don't know, then all of a sudden, like, they just come out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, well, how did nobody know about this? It's like, people did, just not the right people until the right moments. And now it's like, we're getting to this interesting point with all this stuff, right? And, like, if the SEC never came out with this report, like, how do I want to put this? They came out with this report because this is still very much relevant, and everybody, like myself as an individual, are still just talking about this, right? And everything going on, and just studying things and discovering what Cede Co is. So it's like, they had to come out with this. If this was swept under the rug and nobody just really cared, I think they really would have never came out with this, and they just really wouldn't be like talking about this stuff anymore. And just the fact that there's still a meme stock category that's referenced, like, on stock channels and stuff like that, I feel like just kind of tells you all you need to know. Dang, what was I going to show on here again? But yeah, see, like, they're literally saying, like, there's obviously, like, problems. Broker-dealer, trade execution, off-exchange, other broker-dealers, wholesalers, clearance and settlement. It's crazy. Let's see. Right, FTX, recent example. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just so crazy because it's like, I don't know, and people would rather, maybe this is just me, and I'm not trying to get too, like, crazy, but, like, people these days, in my eyes, would rather just believe what they hear because everyone else is saying it, or it's just the popular thing, than actually taking the time to read into it. Just because, oh, well, everybody does that, or everybody knows that, like, or that's just how it is. Like, so many people won't actually, like, take the time to read things, and, like, the Twitter files, like, I'm not, like, taking the time to read them specifically, but there's undeniably some wild stuff coming out of there. It's like, this was going on, like, this is crazy. And, like, I'm not reading them in specifically, and I don't have details, so for that reason, I'm not gonna, like, talk on them. But, like, I'm just seeing general information, but I'm not, like, dismissing it, like, oh, this is all garbage, like, this is all, like, oh, Elon's just doing this, or it's all just that. Like, I look at it and I'm like, okay, like, what is this, yo? This is interesting. A lot of people, I feel like now,
they'll hear about GameStop, and then I'll tell them all this stuff, or an individual will tell them all this stuff, like, yeah, Cede Co, and this and that, and they'll just go, he's just rambling about that. It's just all crazy. When it's like a simple Google search, I always say a simple Google search, when you look up what Cede Co is, right? You look it up, the nominee for the depository trust company, a large clearinghouse that holds shares in its name for banks, brokerage institutions in order to expedite the sale and transfer of stock. The secret $1 trillion company that owns America, right? Like, that's somebody's like post on it. But it's just crazy, right? It's crazy. Like, people just believe what they're told instantly rather than just looking up because it's just a thing. And it's, I'm not saying like to get all tinfoily hat, but like to at least consider like, whoa, that's strange, you know, like, and I just feel like that's kind of like the whole like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory with GameStop as well. So, yep, crazy out there. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, you know what's really interesting? If you look at I gotta find the exact number. Option chain statistics. If anyone has a website for this would be great. Like, I saw it somewhere on Twitter. Like, I just want to see like the total open interest. I don't know exactly where it is, but what I'm trying to say is there's so much open interest on so many different options, and I feel like if you added up all the shares that could be located, or all the shares that should be obligated to the options chain, right? Like, so if you took the amount of options written in total times like 100 shares, that would be the amount of like obligated shares. And then you added DRS, you added insiders, you added institutions. I feel like right there you would have almost all the shares in existence technically. But then at that point, that wouldn't even include just shares in the brokerages, right? Like, that's very simple. And then what about all the interesting, strange reporting rules where it's like if a position's in a swap, it might not necessarily be reported. Great case in point of that is Archegos, right? We saw that literally massive amounts of short interest could be suppressed. We saw, I forgot the name of the stock they owned, but a stock they owned squeezed massively when they blew up because they were heavily shorting it, and on paper it only had like an 8% short interest or something silly like that. And it didn't even need that much demand, and then all of a sudden it had a massive squeeze after Archegos blew up because it was in a swap position. That's why it wasn't reported in any way. There's a lot of demand buying from the short squeeze. It was actually more than 8% being covered in a short period of time. But on paper, that's not what it seemed like because the position, it came out later, was suppressed in a swap position. And swap positions have different reporting rules, and for that reason, you're not going to see it show up in the direct short interest reporting. I read BBBY was going bankrupt and I bought three contract at strike 350. My tinfoil hat is glued to my head. Join the Discord. We live in the Matrix. What's the Discord? Oh, I have to join. I'm going to write this down right now. Marantz's Discord. I need to set up like a Tetron Discord. Not for like, I mean, maybe I'll set up one too for myself. I'll just eventually just like connect with you guys more, or like, I don't know, some kind of thing where like I just like something's going on during the day and like maybe I'm at work and I can sneak away and like shoot a text. Like, we'd have some like big fun group chat, like a group me or something. I don't know if you guys would be down for that, or some ideas like that. But I do have to join Marantz's Discord. I don't know if I want to create my own, but I have to at least create like, I don't even know my personal Discord. I don't really use it like that. So either I have to get my personal Discord back or just create a new one called Tetron and then join as Tetron in Marantz's Discord and just a couple other ones, and maybe create my own eventually, or just some kind of chat. I don't know. I've been thinking about that. So if you guys do have any ideas, I do think some way we could like just message each other during the day. You know, nothing simple. I don't want to be like texting you guys. I don't think we should all be like sharing. No, I don't want to be putting my phone number out there like that. You know, but I think GroupMe. I don't know if GroupMe is like whack, but I have a small chat with a few people on there. So if you guys would want to do that. Join Morant's Discord. There's some things I'm not allowed to talk about. YouTube will ban me. Alright, bet. I'm going to join after this. Yeah, it is crazy. I do think too, like, certain, you have to worry. It's so bizarre that you have to go on YouTube and think, like, if I say the wrong thing, they're gonna take it down. Like, or just like, even before, like, I streamed that other video for a little bit. Like, they're gonna give me a pee whack, or they're gonna give me a whack on the wrist. Like, hey, don't do that. Like, copyright strike on your account. Like, I hope not, YouTube. I really hope not. It was an honest mistake. So, but yeah. Something else to remember? Just again, looking through my notes here. The pen and paper is the way, guys. I'm telling you, when you have random ideas throughout the day, you should just write them down on a piece of paper, right? Just write it down and just think about it again later. Because I said this last stream and I'll say it again. I don't know where exactly I heard it, but the human brain is meant to like come up with ideas, not to constantly retain information. So it only retains like the most important or what it deems to be the most important. So for that reason, you have to like write things down because one, it'll help you remember it and trick your brain like, okay, this is important. I need to remember this. And two, then again, you're going to think about that point you read later that you originally had a thought of. So now you're going to build an idea on top of your idea. Or at least that's how it's working for me. But the idea that I stumbled upon here, and I think is important to bring up again, actually two different things. One, don't invest more than you could afford to lose. You always want to be a responsible investor. You want to feel good about your investment. And two, that volatility goes both ways, right? We saw the stock going down so fast in such a short period of time, and now it's all of a sudden going up pretty quick in a short period of time. And the volatility continues, and I personally do believe that's because shares are being withdrawn from the DTC out of the name of Cede Co here into the name of individuals. And then, when you look beyond that, you just have shady things going on that continually go on. Like, suddenly Bitcoin's pumping right now. Suddenly these other stocks are going. Basket stocks, non-basket stocks, highly shorted stocks. HKD randomly jumped the other day. And HKD, one of the underwriters, is literally Loop Capital. Remember that guy, Anthony Chikabuga, or whatever his name is? That's always trashing on GameStop. Anthony. Literally Anthony GME will come up. Anthony Chukumba and Loop Capital, yeah. Let's see. Loop Capital, HKD. And something else that was interesting, I think 741 Trey posted this on Twitter, shout out to him. That guy, Anthony, whatever his name was that was just on the screen, he's not on Loop Capital's website anymore. But see, yeah, Loop Capital's the underwriter. HKD. Let's see. Alright. I don't want to click on this garbage, but... See, Loop Capital Markets. There it is. Global Markets, Loop Capital Markets, and Maxim Group LLC. So I wonder, it's just so interesting to do this once in a while, right? Like, I just look at something like that and I think, who the heck is Maxim Group LLC? Alright, just some bank. Not that exciting. Interesting. Penny stocks. So, see, my thought process here is there's not much going on. I don't see too much. Let's see their Twitter. Let's see what broker check. But just the fact this is SOS stock, right? I don't really know that, but I'm assuming that's like a smaller name, or R penny stocks. This company, Maxim Group, they're taking all these like shady companies public. If they took HKD public, that alone to me is a red flag. And now I see they do penny stocks and like whatever SOS is. See, I bet this stock is going to do terrible. Like, I hate to say that, but that's just the vibe I get. Multi-metaverse, like, how do you think that's really doing right now? I mean, hey, multi-metaverse, I give that one an opportunity if they're doing something big with the metaverse. But honestly, guys, I don't think the metaverse is like all it's hyped up to be. Like, I think what it is like experiences, and like to have a meeting where you could kind of have like some kind of office experience in the metaverse, like things like that are interesting. Like, there's aspects that are interesting, but I don't think anybody wants to live in the world where it's like you wake up every day, you take a shower in the metaverse, do everything in the metaverse, Excuse me. Oh, I know this company's, weren't they public and then they went private and then went public again? I don't know. I just am getting a bad vibe from this company. It's like whoever they are, like who owns Maxim Group LLC, and I'm sure they have shady ties. You know, it's like it's all connected. That's kind of the crazy thing. SEC is always on the case. Really, HKD Chinese scam has a connection with GameStop. I knew it. I could feel it sometimes. Keep it up, Tetron. Kingsbury, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. But yeah, no, honestly, HKD, mad sus. Mad sus. And like, the fact it's like some random small Chinese company nobody's ever heard of, like tech company, it's just like, it's a great play to just do some shady things on, right? Like, it's all too perfect. Let's see, like, who's this guy? This is how you go down the rabbit hole, guys. Wait a minute. Did I just see something? Or my eyes tricking me? Head at capital markets. I think that's global markets. Alright, let's see what's going on with this guy. Look at that in a minute. Too much going on there. That's also a stock. Is this guy? It's a doctor. I don't think that's him. I don't think that's the same one. Okay, so there's not much on this guy. Unless he's a doctor that also... oh, so Bronx Medical... I can't say it or I'll get demonetized. MJ Doctor. I'm not MJ. It's proud to offer Bronx medical patients. Is he part of the Maxim Group? I mean, this is New York. Maybe is that near it? Like, that's so weird. Like, I don't know. See, like... but it's also one of those things, like, now I'm getting down, like, a rabbit hole, but it's like, it's just some random doctor. Like, does he have any real meaning, like, to anything with this saga? Any names I recognize here by some chance? Nope. SOS stock. Yeah, what was it, like a year? Oh, this is why it was being talked about. But see, again, Maxim is involved. And wait a minute. Whoa, would you look at that? See, interesting. I don't really remember this. SOS, look at that timing. January 2021, it's running up. And whoever this Maxim is, right? Underwrites HKD, where the shady stuff goes on. It seems like it has ties to GameStop. SOS just so happens to have a crazy run up while GameStop is falling as well. And also just so happens to be up big today. Like, I don't know. There's some really dirty things going on, and like, there's just enough like out there to see it, right? But like, not enough to do like, oh, this is like concrete evidence of this, right? Because of how reporting is in general, they just make it difficult to like gather information as individuals like you and me. You need like to be pretty much at the top of things to really get a great overview of the market as a whole and what's truly happening. Because think about it, if you're a market maker, Citadel on their website literally brags about executing 50% of retail trades. That means they constantly see what the general sentiment is, the general trade. Of course, it's going to be so easy to place a trade before you actually execute the ones that are being sent to you. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just so crazy how all this stuff works. And it's crazy how, because of GameStop, I've learned so much about market structure. It's insane. Everyone's getting hyped in the chat. Q to pour it up. Read all these run-ups happen at the same time. Citadel, the original FTX, maybe. And it's just interesting. Like, that's like my new favorite term. I would say just interesting. It's just interesting because it is all interesting, and it's also spicy. Like, it's so like it's like a puzzle that can never truly be solved because there's just so much yarn to unravel with all this, right? Like, it's just crazy. It's absolutely nuts. But guys, honestly, I'm thinking I'm gonna wrap it up soon. I'm getting pretty tired, pretty beat. I'm kind of running out of stuff to say or good value to give you guys, but I think it's gonna be another spicy day tomorrow. And part of how tomorrow works out, I think we'll also have part of what to do. What has to do with how next week plays out is what I'm trying to say here. Because if, a lot of options close in the money, how's that going to affect things? Is that going to make Bed Bath absolutely explode next week? And if it does, is there a reason? Like, I feel like tomorrow's price action, like, if Bed Bath is meant to go up a lot more, it'll probably go up tomorrow, and it's probably going to go up next week too, honestly. I mean, again, I don't know, I'm just talking off the dome here, but tomorrow does seem pivotal in terms of the options chain, and just the way the options chain's been constantly loaded. But what I'm kind of saying too is, like, it's just all too perfect that the options chain is loaded right now. At the same time, there's all this bankruptcy talk, right? So, I don't know. Interesting stuff. And one more thing I'll show you guys, which I just found it again the other day. Again, because I had random notes on it. Cede Co, EMCC. I should make a whole stream on this in general. Where is it? There's some, yeah. See, there's a court case on this. Basically where, let's see. Okay, see, literally it's in, this is a court case. It went to court. Beneficial owners of shares of common stock held of record in name of another person, such as a bank, broker, or other nominee, may assert appraisal rights only if the shareholder submits to the company the record holder's written consent to the assertion of such rights. The proxy statement told shareholders that all shares of common stock would approximately be canceled or cease to exist except for the right to receive merger consideration at the time of the merger. In order to fulfill this outcome, shareholders were required to demand and perfect their right to appraisal of their shares in accordance with Division 8 of the Iowa Business Corporate Act. Emphasis added. The statement included the following: the donation. Oh my gosh, big words, court cases. The company urges you to read. Okay, where was it? Here we go. On September 10th, EMCI received a letter from Cede to submit it to behalf of one of EMCI's beneficiaries, the other dissenter, who had obtained certificates for shares and deposited them with EMCI. That letter stated that Cede was a nominee of DTC, a holder of record of shares of EMC, and that in accordance with instructions received from participant on behalf of beneficial owner, right? So think about that. DTC participants, that's the brokerages. Beneficial owner, that's you owning shares in your brokerage account. We hereby assert appraisal or dissenter's rights with respect to the shares. The record shareholder payment list had the shares of the other dissenter recorded with the notion. Cede Co, FBO, dissenter. So essentially how your shares are kind of listed are Cede Co, FBO, probably a brokerage ID, and then your name as the beneficial owner, right? Because at the end of the day, as long as their name is Cede Co and everything goes back to Cede Co, then it's like, who cares? Like, I really have to make another whiteboard video on this. I don't know. There's just so many different ways to explain this and go over this, and just the whole thing is just bizarre how it works. And it's truly crazy that nobody really knows what Cede Co is until you really, really dig into it and really, really take the time to learn, right? So I'll kind of leave it there for today in terms of Cede Co. So, yeah, I mean, Cede Co is DTC and just all the shady things. So it's a free pass. Yeah, it kind of is XBit, because I'll tell you something. This is what I'll kind of leave you with. My job, right? Self-directed IRAs. So let's say, for the sake of the example, my self-directed IRA company I work for is called GameStop Trust, right? Because that's just a fake name. I don't want to say the actual name of my company, whatever. GameStop Trust. If you own you want to purchase an asset in GameStop Trust, right? We allow you, in the name of your IRA, you'll come to us so just call it so I guess I should use a different name. I'm gonna make people confused with that because I have a Pac-Man thing here. I'm gonna call it Pac-Man Company LLC. So I work for Pac-Man. I allow self-directed IRAs. This is basically doing my job, but I'm explaining it in the form of Pac-Man LLC. We allow self-directed IRAs, which just means instead of investing in stocks and bonds in an IRA, we allow you to own assets through your IRA, through our custodianship. So any assets you buy in your IRA are held in the name of, like, let's say I want to buy private equity in my friend's business, right? My friend's opening a pizza shop. I believe in him and I want to invest, but I want to do it through my retirement account because maybe I don't have the money on me, or I want to use the money I'm going to make for my retirement because it's in a Roth account or whatever it may be, right? Or I'm just, I'm going to contribute money so I can write off some taxes and make the investment through the IRA, whatever people's reasons are, right? The investment would be held in the name of Pac-Man, custodian, FBO, just like it showed over here, FBO. Where was it? Descent. Yeah, FBO. So it would be Pac-Man, FBO, your name, and account number. That's the ownership titling, right? So even though you're making the investment with your IRA with us at Pac-Man, right? At Pac-Man LLC, Pac-Man Bank, whatever you want to call it. Your ownership is technically held by Pac-Man, and we're holding it for your benefit, and we're just allocating it to you. And same with funds when they come in or out. They're all coming in and out of one universal account here at Pac-Man. But that one universal account, every time funds come in or out, the wiring information that's through the back office system, right, through the ACAT system, or sorry, that's shares. Shares would be the ACAT, but wiring's a system of itself. That's how you can get money quickly from one day to the next, from one bank to the next. That back office system is all because all things are in the same name, right? I don't think I explained that good, but basically, what you own in an IRA, with a self-directed IRA, it's being held on your behalf because you can't legally hold it directly in an IRA, if that kind of makes sense. I don't know. It's hard to explain without showing you what I actually do and exactly, but there's a way to, people have talked about self-directed IRAs to own GameStop, because if you open up an IRA LLC, which is just an LLC held in the name of the retirement account, it represents an IRA, then you could actually buy shares on ComputerShare in there. So that's a possibility, but kind of rambling now. I'm not sure if that exactly made sense. Ben S., thank you for being here. The entry level is going to be supercharged post-MOAS. Expert, I see you in all the good channels. How many halts do you anticipate during the squeeze, and they're going to prevent GME's full potential? Mouvier, I think there'll be lots of halts, honestly, at lots of different times. I don't think it affects the potential, because I truly don't think, in my eyes, that MOAS is just going to be a one-day event or 1 week. I think it's going to be an extended period of time, and it's not just going to be instantaneous. It's really not going to look the same as January of 2021. And yeah, shout out to XBit. You're always here, man. You're always around. The shares are real? Yes. So yeah, for at my company, yes. No, they absolutely are. Because we're doing like someone's coming to us, right? Like how it works is, let's say your friend's opening up pizza shop, right? And you want to invest in it through your IRA. We would just hold it in the name of Pac-Man, FBO, Tetron, and then my account number, right? And I would be investing in your pizza shop, let's say. And that ownership is just legally, because we can legally custodian the asset, whereas legally an IRA can only hold a public stock, right? So it's kind of a tricky thing, and it's a little bit different because of what we do. We're offering a unique service, but it's the same structure where we literally have that FBO in there, where it's it's all held under one entity. And that's why it's crazy to me where what we do is unique, and what we're offering is unique, and that's why I feel it makes sense for it to all be in our name. Plus, it's not the whole market as a whole. Cede Co is just so much bigger. That's what doesn't make sense to me about it. And the fact that they're so similar, it's just crazy, you know? So, my second device over here just died. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up. Getting pretty beat, guys. Can IRA shares be lent out? Yeah, I mean, they can't. So, like, if you're telling them, like, not to loan them out, they shouldn't be loaning them out, right? Because you're your broker. But at the end of the day, if there's any shares at all in the name of Cede Co, I feel like they're generally being used as locates, or like, oh, hey, well, we're writing this position as a market maker because we know we have locates in Cede Co. Like, it's not actually like your particular shares or my particular shares. It's just that there are shares just still there in the name of Cede Co that are, we can write an option because when we need to cover it, it's naked right now. It's okay because there's actually still shares in Cede Co as the technical locates, for when it's time. I remember when Trimbath talked about the change from paper certificates to digital. Yeah, the craziest part about Trimbath is that she worked there so long ago at the DTC, and like, she's talking about how long this has been a problem. This has only been brewing, so it's like how deep this really goes. And like then beyond it, like when you see this stuff come out about like JFK, it's like kind of crazy. And like the fact that he wanted to end the Fed, and like a lot of individuals that were against the Fed, like some very bad things have happened. So it's just, I don't know, like how deep some of this stuff can go sometimes is crazy. And you think like, people think, oh, it's tinfoil hat and oh, this is all crazy, but it's like, no, like GameStop is just like a crack in the ice. And then it's like, once you crack what's the analogy I'm trying to make? Like if you're on a pond and then the ice cracks, it's going to start cracking everywhere, right? So once the ice cracks, like we kind of got a glimpse behind things, how things really worked. And a lot of individuals like myself, and hence why I made this channel, were like, wait, that's how the DTC operates? That's how all this stuff works, right? So like, it's just crazy. And we've just learned so much in all this time. It's just remarkable. And just, it's made people like myself and probably you watching this curious, like, how do these things really work? Like, and it's like for so long, nobody's really like dug that deep into the stuff, and like the JFK stuff and like ending the Fed and all that, like that still goes so deep, and people say, oh, that's just tinfoil hat, this and that. But it's like, no, listen, I found like evidence, and like we've seen what exactly happened with GameStop. And if you work your way back, you start to see some interesting ties and some interesting things, right? And like, I'll leave you to believe what you want with what you want, right? But I'm just saying, like, before, like, again, people like will just dismiss, oh, just tinfoil hat, without actually taking the time to really look into something and make sure, like, oh, that's just what everyone says because that's what it is. Like, really read things and like, is it really what everybody says? Like, you should just read and determine it yourself, So I'll kind of leave it there. Yeah, and then see you guys next time. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you all. And just keep grinding forward with the channel. I'm just making videos, streaming here and there. If things are spicy again tomorrow, I think it's going to be as spicy next week. I think if things die off tomorrow, it's going to kind of just be back to like, yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, it does seem like we're kind of like due for a cycle. So I say that and like, I don't know anything, I'm just saying I'm just saying like whatever. I just think tomorrow's price action and like the options chain will be affected, right? How many options actually wind up in the money, and just kind of restructuring with next week's options chain being a yearly options chain expiration. And I'm not a genius on options in any way, so don't listen to me too much on that. I'm just saying like, it's crazy right now, and you can never really expect anything, is I guess that's really what I'm trying to say, is that expect the unexpected, don't expect anything can happen in the short term. Keep your long-term viewpoints, stick with your fundamentals, stick with the reason you're in what you're in, and believe in what you believe in, and just remember the reasons that you believe in what you believe in. Yeah, so alright, gonna head out now, guys. Hope you have a good night. This doesn't want to stop.